The exclusion or the inclusion of a single letter K can turn you from a mindless follower into a thoughtful leader. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 192. This is the one about tracking versus tracing the dragon. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcasts. If you are catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you will see stuff like this, the Keep Calm and Learn to Fight Ferociously Jeet Kune Do t-shirt, available short sleeve, long sleeve. They're having trouble with the hoodies, I've heard, and also as a coffee mug. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcasts. So once upon a time, there was a guy who saw Bruce Lee in The Big Boss, and he decided that he wanted to learn the type of martial art that he saw being performed in that movie. Alas, there were no local schools that taught the Bruce Lee method, but there was one place that instead of teaching Japanese or Korean style martial arts, that place taught a form of Chinese martial arts instead. So he eagerly signed up and started his training. So as the years went by, he continued to watch Bruce Lee movies. He also read up on Bruce Lee's writings about martial arts in general and about Jeet Kune Do specifically. And that led him to start to question the training and the teaching methods at the local school. In fact, he became so obsessed with Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do training that he built his own primitive equipment, like a wooden dummy, a punching bag, and a stretch pulley. He also became such a pain in the butt at the local school with his constant questions that they ended up kicking him out, which led him to starting his own little private training group at his house, using whatever Jeet Kune Do materials he could get his hands on. So over the years, that would be magazine articles, the Wing Chun book, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, the fighting method books, that type of stuff. Now, 2,100 miles away, a second guy was having a very similar experience. He watched the same movies, he read the same magazines and books, he tried his hand at a local school, but ended up doing his own JKD thing in his basement. Years later, both these cats decide that they need to get authentic Jeet Kune Do training. So the first guy goes out to LA and seeks out Dan Inosanto, because from what he had seen and read, Inosanto was the guy that Bruce Lee had left in charge. And he also seeks out Francis Fong, a Wing Chun Kung Fu instructor, because he knew that Bruce Lee himself had trained in Wing Chun in his own early days. So this guy's intention was to spend time with these two instructors and then go back home and work stuff out for himself based on what he had learned. Somehow he knew that he would have to do the work of putting the art together, so to speak, just like Bruce Lee had done. The other guy was a little more specific. So he wanted to learn exactly what Bruce Lee had taught. And so he sought out a few different instructors by visiting Taki Kimura in Seattle, Gary Dill of Oakland, and Ted Wong in Los Angeles. Now, what both guys had in common is that they both considered Bruce Lee to be a martial art genius, and both believed that what he did during his lifetime to develop himself, and then the result of that development, which he named Jeet Kune Do, this result they both considered to be a pinnacle of martial art endeavor, to be a veritable martial art holy grail. But what makes one a tracker with a K of the dragon and the other a tracer without the K of the dragon? I'll tell you what, because that missing letter K can make a world of difference. So if I'm out in the wild, right, tracking someone or tracking something, I have to pretty much follow the same path that that person took, reading the signs that tell you what they did, what turns they took, where they stopped, etc. Right? If I'm, on the other hand, I'm tracing something, I pretty much take a static image, I put a piece of paper over it, and then I do my best to follow the lines to make my copy, right? So those are your choices when you study Jeet Kune Do. You can take the path that Bruce Lee took, which involved receiving instruction, because we know that Bruce Lee trained under different people, but also studying and researching on your own and coming up essentially with your own deal, since that's really how you discover yourself. Or you can follow the romantic ideal that portrays that in doing a ton of work and in naming the result of that work Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee gave us a finished product. He essentially did all of the heavy lifting for us. And so now all we have to do is to come in decades later, do only what he did or what he taught others, and we are good to go. Except that if you view what Bruce Lee said, what Bruce Lee did, what Bruce Lee wrote about, if you view that stuff in its totality, you discover that the guy who stressed simplicity, directness, and effectiveness is the same guy who stressed that there was no fixed, immutable, unchanging way of Jeet Kune Do, and also stressed that no limitation should be applied in your pursuit of the understanding or the application of Jeet Kune Do. That's not to say that he didn't leave us with a whole heap of instructions and guidelines, because he did. So I'm not saying that any and everything can be Jeet Kune Do. But to think that all there is to Jeet Kune Do proficiency is found in doing only what Bruce Lee taught, instead of doing what Bruce Lee taught, as well as doing what he did in terms of investigation, in terms of investigating other arts, other cultures, other disciplines, other teachings. Well, if you ignore that, to me, that is to miss all the celestial glory. And what say you? Do you think that genius that he was, Bruce Lee, gave us everything we could ever want in a fixed martial arts system? Or do you think that there's room, that there's always room for further development? Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. Friday, what month are we? September. I'm sorry. Friday, September 10th. We'll be doing the Jeet Kune Do dialogues with Sean Davis of Jeet Kune Do Combative Science, and that will be at 6 p.m. regular time. Today is a yellow day. All right, there you go. Okay, so I'll see some of you on Friday at 6 p.m. If not, I'll see you back here next Wednesday for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Take care. Talk soon. That's a ridiculous idea. No, I don't want you to put your hand here. Right?
You see by the time to do something.
Yeah. I don't want you to put your hand behind here, but I'm illustrating. So, what is
What's the guiding principle being illustrated in that ridiculous example?
The rear hand is blocking or defending, and the lead hand is ready to hit.
Yes, exactly.
Either afterwards
Right?
or
The rear hand is the major defending hand. The lead hand is the major offending